You know, Dr. George, I've been very much involved with my parish. Monsignor Ryan has been wonderful. We've gone through that repeatedly. And he is starting a group for abused women that he wants me to become involved with. And he's also searching about for schools that I can go to. I need skills. Okay, I'm on welfare. I am not staying on welfare. I want a job. Even before I get my degree and venture off, I need a job. So that part's been going well, but he has a sacristan in the church that has suddenly taken a fancy towards me and has asked me out. And my attitude is no way. Dr. George, let me tell you something. I am not interested in dating. I am not interested in remarrying. At this juncture, I just want to be left by myself, do what I have to do to move on, live with my sister-in-law, and that's it. I do not want a relationship. He is finding it a little bit difficult to deal with that rejection, and I may just have to speak to Monsignor Ryan. I don't want to put him out of a job, but if he really gets on my last nerve, as he is doing at this moment, then I'm going to have to just bring it up. It's like, look, leave me alone. I'm not interested. I don't know if he knows my background. He may not. I've not broadcasted. There's no reason to. Of course, Monsignor knows, and a few people know. I don't think he should be privy to that, but he has just really pried my last nerve, and I'm not interested in a relationship. Does that sound odd?
It doesn't sound odd. So I'm just curious. So what exactly happened? How did he approach you? What in particular did he do that seems to be frustrating you?
We were in the back. We were in the sacristy, and I was waiting. Monsignor Ryan has a friend, Sister Patricia, and she was giving a workshop on abused women. And Monsignor said, Cassandra, you need to go. And fine, no problem, I will go. So I'm in the back, and I'm waiting for Sister, and she was speaking to somebody, and this gentleman, his name is Mike, came over to me and he said, I've noticed you. I know your name is Cassandra, and I find you attractive, and would you like to go out to dinner one time? I said, no. Well, would you like to go for coffee? No. And I was very honest. I said, look, I don't even want to walk across the street with you. I am not interested in a relationship. Please don't take that personally. But at this juncture in my life, I do not want a relationship. We can say hello, we can say goodbye, how are you in between, and that's it. But he doesn't get it. And he continues, like every time I'm at church, for some reason, he's always there and saying, listen, we would be good together. You're a woman that I could really make happy. Yeah, I could make you happy. And I just might go to Monsignor and say, look, get tell him to get lost.
Well, I support you in that. I mean, what's important is that you feel comfortable. So, if you went to Monsignor, how would that conversation go?
Look, Monsignor, you know my history. You know I'm not exactly marriage material, considering the fact that I killed, my husband. And I need to heal. I don't want a relationship. I need to work on who Cassandra is. Absolutely, I need to work on my relationship with the Lord, strengthening my relationship with the Lord, staying in His Word, listening to teaching. I don't have time or the inclination to be in a relationship. I just don't want to. If I'm going to get into a relationship with anyone right now, Dr. George, aside, obviously from the Lord, it would be with my children. That's what I want. I am not interested in a romantic relationship.
So, is that what you would say to Monsignor?
I think I probably would, and I think I would be very honest and tell him, Monsignor, he needs to buzz off. I'm trying to be polite,
Right.
but he has pried my last nerve, and I don't want to be rude. He's one of your employees, but could you please tell him to back off?
Well, I think that's your right to do so. I wonder if there's another way you can get the message to Mike that you've had it and you need to stop. And this is important for you because you're talking about boundaries. Because I think you're recognizing what you want or what you don't want, and you're using words, which is very different than where you were 20 years ago, right?
Yes.
And you weren't aware of how to use your words, and before you know it, things got out of control. So this could be
That's
a great opportunity for you to use your words and make it very clear to Mike about where you are and give him alternatives. I mean, if you feel you want to go to Monsignor now, I would encourage you. But I like to think about you using your words and make it very clear to this guy about where you are and what you expect of him from this point on to see if that would work. What do you think about that?
You know something, Dr. George, I cannot be, when I say totally honest with him, again, I'm very careful whom I share my story with. And quite frankly, it's none of his business.
Right.
Um, I think if I had to use words, I would tell him, look, Mike, I was married before. It did not work out. And it's not that I've given up on romantic relationships, but this is neither the time nor the place. And right now, I am not interested. If I change my mind, I will let you know. But in the interim, you have please stop asking me out. Again, we could be friends, hello, goodbye, and a few greetings in between. And that's basically it. Now, look, I mean, they're having a dance next week, the Christmas dance at church. And of course, oh, Cassandra, come with me, come with me. And I've said, Mike, I am not going. Please understand, don't take it personally, but I'm not interested. And of course, like I said, he continues on. So I just may have to speak to Monsignor and tell him, I don't want Mike to lose his job. That's not what I'm here for. But please speak with him nicely and tell him to buzz off.
I like the buzz off part.
Well, I could say tell him to leave me alone, but
is that the New York way of saying leave me alone, buzz off?
in a sense, yeah. In a sense, it's yes, very much so. It's like, Mike, do me a favor, just buzz off. And and that's rude. He might just be trying to be nice,
Yeah.
or thinking that I'm like a shy maiden who, just trembles at the thought of, being in the company of a man. That's not it. Again, I told you, I'm not marriage material, especially not at this juncture.
Right. When you share with me what you would like to say to him, I think that's perfect. And I think any reasonable person would be willing to hear that. So I would encourage you to think about a time when you need to have that conversation and make it very concrete, and to use your words and to tell him, like you mentioned, if this continues on, you will go to Monsignor, and make sure that's really clear. So I'm hoping when you meet with him, he'll get your words, he will respect your boundaries, and behave appropriately.
I hope so, because I don't want to be harassed.
Right.
Yes, I mean, I suppose I should be flattered. I'm not, but I guess, anybody else would say, well, Cassandra, be happy. You're out, you're living your life, and a man finds you desirable enough to want your company. That's not where I'm at right now.
Right.
That's not where I'm at. No, I mean, what, for coffee, for going out, to the movies? I'm not interested.
Okay. I think that's perfect. I think that's perfect. So do you see yourself not ever getting involved in an intimate relationship, or what are your thoughts about that, being that this is now coming up?
I think I still have some traits in me, Dr. George, of the old Cassandra.
Yeah.
And the old Cassandra, of course, attracted the man that I had married.
Yeah.
I don't want that. I don't want that. For me to attract someone, to have a healthy relationship, I need to change totally. But Dr. George, I mean, come on, let's be honest. If I have to be candid with a potential partner,
Right.
oh, what have you done with your life? Well, I spent 20 years in prison. I killed my husband.
Right.
I mean, I can see any decent man saying, okay, well, nice to know you. Take care and enjoy your day.
So is that the biggest fear, that once that person gets to really know you, that you'll just scare them away, and whoever would really be attracted to you will be like the perpetrator you were married to 2 years ago? Is that the biggest fear?
Yes, the biggest fear, you know something, I guess, I mean, look, Mike has been a royal pain, with his
Yeah.
persistence. But you know what? Perhaps deep down, that is my fear, that if I open my heart to you and I grow to like you, to care for you, well, I'm going to have to be candid. How can I be candid, Dr. George, with the fact of what has happened, that I killed my husband? Who's going to want somebody like that? Maybe I'm pulling a gate down, maybe I'm closing a door. God may be saying to me, look, when it's time, I will send you my choice, but he will really and truly have to prepare that man's heart to accept somebody like me. Because whatever I do, going back to school, getting involved in different, things in the parish, I'm still Cassandra who killed her husband. Nothing's ever going to change that.
And you're right with that. And so I think I think your thoughts are good on that. That you want to be cautious.
Yes.
I'm not sure if you would need to cut it off forever, but I trust your instincts that right now you really need to keep working on yourself. And I like that prayer you said. Okay, Lord, if it's really your will, you'll prepare that right person, and
Yes.
then you'll be in that spot where you can be honest with them. We all have our shadow selves, right?
Yes.
We all
Yes.
have that. And but I hear you. I hear what you're saying about discerning and being careful.
I'm afraid.
Yeah.
I'm afraid.
So right now, as you are now looking to venture out and to do and to really rebuild your life, how are you coming to terms with your past? Because you're right, you can never get rid of your past. How are you coming to terms with your past as you're now trying to move into this new life of yours?
What I've done, um, and I think I've mentioned this previously, I continue to study the life of St. Paul the Apostle,
Okay.
and look to see what his life was like prior to his conversion. I mean, he was struck down, and Jesus said to him, Saul, Saul, why do you persecute me? He had a horrible past. And people were saying, you can't be using Paul. Paul's done this, Paul's done that. I see myself in a sense like Paul, not to be on that same level, Dr. George. I'm not
Right.
saying that in a matter of conceit, but he had a very flawed background. I have a very flawed background.
Right. So let's pretend that you're perfectly in God's will and you're doing all that you can, and you've come to terms with your history. What would you look like? What would you be doing? What kind of relationships would you be having if all things were equal, if you were at peace with your past? I mean, do you have a picture of what that would look like in the future?
My picture as to what I would look like in the future, I would be a
Okay, professional doing what?
professional psychologist, counselor. That's my heart's desire. And I know I have that gift. I can relate to people. I am not, and we've spoken about this previously, um, where I refuse to talk to somebody who tells me, I know how you feel. And I'm like, dude, you have no idea. Take a hike. You do not know what I'm going through. But I've been there.
So
I've been
is it the same thing? I buzz off or take a hike?
there. Yes, in a sense.
So
In a
you say that as a psychologist? No, you probably wouldn't say that.
sense. In a sense,
All
because people have no idea. They try to empathize with you.
right.
I don't want that. Just be real. Just tell me, Cassandra, I've never been in that position. Tell me what it was like, if you wish. But don't sit across the desk and tell me, I know how you feel. No, you truly, truly don't. Um, and I'm going to be that different type of psychologist, that different type of counselor to say, listen, I did not have that experience. This was my experience. Let's try to form a common meeting ground.
Excellent. So tell me what kind of clients would you be seeing then? So here you are in your practice and you're serving the population. So what kind of clients would be attracted to what you would have to offer?
Abused women.
Is what? Okay.
Definitely abused women. Women who either are married, who left their spouses, who are not married but with an abusive partner, any type of abuse. That would be my specialty. I've been there. I've done that, and I've bought the t-shirt. And I can definitely relate to these individuals. Not everybody on the outside can, but I can.
Wonderful. And you're correct with that. So what else? So here we are in this ideal world, and so you're a psychologist. So what kind of friendships would you have? What kind of intimate relationships would you have at that time as well, if you could picture it?
I think the relationships that I would have would be with people who want to strive forward. I realize that not all of my relationships will be with other professionals,
Right.
but I don't want to be in friendship. I don't want to be even in casual relationship, acquaintances with people who are without any type of desire to move ahead with their lives. Um, I know years ago, I knew somebody from the neighborhood, and we were both young, and I would always tell her, "Come on, let's do this, let's do that." No, 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 no. There was never any interest in going out and venturing forth. I don't need that. I want to be with people that are going to help me and whom I can help, both on a professional and spiritual level.
Wonderful. So what kind of intimate relationships would you have? Or would you have any intimate relationships?
At this juncture, no. I mean, to me, intimacy,
But even in the future, do you see yourself having an intimate relationship?
Dr. George, like I said, the Lord, if I was in an intimate relationship, first of all, to me, any type of intimacy comes through marriage. There is no way that I would engage in any type of sexual intimacy without marriage. I'm sorry. I know what God's word says. Now I know what God's word says, and I'm not violating that. He says, fornicators shall not inherit the kingdom. So that's out. Um, I, for me to engage in any type of intimacy with the prospect of marriage, and when I say that, I meant emotional intimacy. Again, God would have to prepare his heart to say, look, this is what she has done. This is what she's doing now, and I've put the two of you together. It would take a different kind of man to be able to say to me, Cassandra, I know your past, I know what you've done, but God's put us together for a reason and a purpose.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. And so in the future, if things were ideal, what kind of things would you be doing for yourself to care for yourself? Give a picture of what that would look like.
I would stop letting people speak in a not profane, there's a word that I'm looking for, a disparaging manner. You cannot speak to me like that anymore. You cannot speak to me like I'm a piece of dirt out on the street. I'm not allowing that. If I'm not allowing that now, I'm definitely not going to allow that in the future. I'm not going to be the Cassandra that's so eager to please. No, those days are over. Those days are over. God created me. I took a major detour,
Mhm.
but there's still work to be done. There's still work that he's called me to do. Is it a process? Absolutely. But that's where I will be. You could not speak to me in the future, in the ideal world. You're not speaking to me like that. No way. I'm not allowing that. You can go take a hike
Or buzz off.
or buzz off or stop getting on my last nerve.